Hello everyone and welcome to No Huddle, a channel where we discuss all things college football. With SEC Media Days now in the books, we'll give our final thoughts and takeaways for the big names in the conference. Let us say now that we'll not cover all 14 teams in the SEC, nor will we discuss the teams arriving in the next year. Also, this is not a prediction video for the upcoming season and how we think teams will do, but a recap of what we learned from the Media Days. Before we get too far, please be sure to like the video if you enjoy our content and subscribe if you would like to see more. Without further ado, let's go over our biggest takeaways from the top SEC programs. Alabama. As Nick Saban headed to SEC Media Day, he did so for the 18th time as the head coach of one of the most revered and celebrated college football programs. While many people expected more clarity on the offseason and more importantly, the starting QB.
You're going to ask me about the quarterbacks every day. Every day I'm going to tell you the same thing. You know, everybody's getting reps at the position. Somebody's got to take the bull by the horns. Somebody's got to separate themselves. When that happens, we'll tell you. Be glad to tell you. When we're going to take the cake out of the oven, we will tell you when it's the time.
Saban was reluctant to give any update. Ahead of the SEC Media Day, a lot of people wondered who would start at QB for the Crimson Tide entering the 2023 season. After Media Day, fans are still left wondering who's going to be under center when the team takes on Middle Tennessee on September 2nd. Despite an 11-2 record, a disappointment by Crimson Tide standards, and coming off a season where they did not make an appearance in the national championship game, Alabama has a lot to be optimistic about. The Crimson Tide have had the best recruiting class according to 24/7 Sports, a class where 4 of their 5 top recruits are on the defensive side. 5-star recruits like Caleb Downs, James Smith, Quay Russo, and Keon Keeley are sure to make the Alabama defense a force to be reckoned with. But one interesting piece emerged from Saban regarding the offense when he spoke to late kick host Josh Pate. After a season where the offense seemed to place a great emphasis on Bryce Young, Saban hopes to have a more balanced approach for 2023.
So I do think we can have a more balanced offense. I think we became a little bit too much Bryce-oriented type of offense, pass. Didn't dominate the line of scrimmage, couldn't run the ball when we needed to effectively. And I think those things we have to do a better job.
Which means for Alabama, they may return to a more bully ball type of play that fans used to see from them. A play style that just beat opponents into the ground while surrendering few points to their opposition in the process. The Crimson Tide certainly have the running back duo to make this work, as they also recruited 5-star running backs Richard Young and Justice Haynes. After Media Day, the biggest thing moving forward for Bama is getting back to the top of the mountain. Auburn. Hugh Freeze came into his first SEC Media Day since 2017 as coach of Ole Miss and addressed how he believes he can turn around a struggling Auburn team. He gave his approach on building a team culture centered around faith and mental toughness, something Freeze noted seemed fractured in the locker room. One of Auburn's problems Freeze hopes to fix is the ability to play a complete game, as he noted that the Tigers seem to play 2 different halves of football, which does seem apparent if you're an Auburn fan, as the Tigers have clawed back from large deficits like they did against Mississippi State and have fallen apart like they did against Penn State. As Auburn heads into the season, Freeze said he worked with offensive coordinator Philip Montgomery to establish a 10-day plan for quarterbacks. This allows Freeze and Montgomery an opportunity to see how each QB works within the system. With Michigan State transfer Peyton Thorne now in the mix for quarterback, the Tigers have 3 options at QB, with Robbie Ashford and redshirt freshman Holden Geriner also on the roster. It'll be interesting to see how Freeze handles this program and how he can potentially turn them back into a competitor, but it may just take a little time and patience. Florida. The Gators had multiple storylines to follow heading into the 2023 football season, one of them being head coach Billy Napier. As the former Louisiana coach prepares for his second season at the helm, there's an expectation for a better record than the 6-7 from 2022. Napier sat down with late kick host Josh Pate when he expressed confidence about the team in 2023, given the change in attitude for his second season as head coach. I think there's a renewed sense of accountability, Napier said. We had quite a bit of attrition. We've had a quarter of the veterans that are coming coming back that have experience, that have wisdom, that care about the University of Florida, that are being a great example to the young players we've added. Another important piece of Florida's offseason was the turnover in coaching positions. The Gators hired Austin Armstrong as their defensive coordinator, who spent the previous season at Southern Mississippi. As the defensive coordinator for the Golden Eagles, his defense allowed 23.5 points per game, which ranked 45th nationally. Southern Miss also ranked 3rd nationally in tackles for loss per game with 8.3, 5th in sacks per game with 3.38, and 7th in interceptions on the season with 17. Florida also hired wide receivers coach Billy Gonzalez after the departure of Kerry Colbert. Gator fans will be familiar with Gonzalez as he was the wide receivers coach at Florida from 2005 to 2009, and then again in 2018 to 2022. After his one season with Florida Atlantic University, Gonzalez returns to help the development of new recruits like 4-star wide receiver Aiden Mizell and 3-star wide receiver Andy John. The Gators also promoted Russ Callaway to tight end coach for the 2023 season. Another intriguing storyline was the former Wisconsin quarterback Graham Mertz. It's safe to say that Mertz has big shoes to fill after former QB Anthony Richardson was drafted 4th overall by the Indianapolis Colts this past April. Napier said Mertz is used to being in the spotlight, has arm talent, and has hunger to succeed. The big thing to watch is how long of a leash Billy Napier has as head coach. As Florida tries to climb over 500, the success of the program will probably determine if Napier has a job the following season. Georgia. There's not much to say about Georgia that people don't already know. The two-time defending champs come into the 2023 season looking for a three-peat. The only real concern for head coach Kirby Smart is the quarterback position, and we use the term concern lightly. The Bulldogs have Carson Beck, who is believed to be the frontrunner for the starting QB position, but he doesn't have a ton of experience, and he must try to fill the shoes of Stetson Bennett. Surely it won't be easy for Beck to do that, but given the program he's in, he can succeed. Certainly, the defensive line will miss Jalen Carter, but Georgia recruited some of the best players for their secondary that may help account for the difference. LSU. As Brian Kelly heads into his second season as head coach of LSU, he addressed perhaps one of the program's biggest concerns: a weak secondary. Nut and Zy Alexander from Syracuse and Southeastern Louisiana respectively, Kelly hopes this helps the team get off the field on 3rd down. LSU also recruited players like cornerback Javian Toviano, linebacker Whit Weeks, and safety Kylan Jackson to improve their defense. In an interview with Late Kick host Josh Pate, Kelly explained the defense faltered late in the season, and the key to sustained success was a good defense. If we're better there and we continue to play with a physicality up front with our offensive line, then this football team is going to be in a good position, Kelly said. If we struggle running the football, if we struggle with physicality up front, and we can't get off the field again on 3rd down, this football team is not going to have the same kind of success. Another key point for the Tigers is the continued development of Jayden Daniels. 2022 was a learning curve for both parties involved. The coaching staff had to learn who Jayden Daniels was as a player, while he had to learn the new system. In Kelly's first season as head coach at LSU, the Tigers defeated Alabama in a 32-31 overtime thriller. Now, Kelly plans to build off that for sustained greatness at LSU. As he spoke on Media Day, Kelly emphasized the importance of consistency for the program and building off a good first year by addressing the needs of the program. The foundation of success is built in consistency, Kelly said. Alabama and Georgia continue to hold that mantle of consistency in terms of playing for championships, and that's what we'll be looking to be at LSU. As the Tigers look to improve under Kelly's second year as head coach, they have a tough test in the opening game against Florida State University, so fans will get a feel relatively soon as to how LSU improves and builds consistency. Tennessee. Let's not focus on the allegations and the Jeremy Pruitt incident on this one. Instead, let's focus on the Volunteers' 2023 season. The big thing for them is still at the quarterback position, and how does Tennessee make up the production that Hendon Hooker gave them? And the Volunteers seem to have the answer in Joe Milton III. The former Michigan QB transferred to Tennessee for 2021, and while he's not seen the same number of snaps as a traditional starter, he does have 2 wins in the 2022 season over Clemson and Vanderbilt. Against the Tigers, he went 19 for 28 with 251 yards and 3 touchdowns, so there is potential for him to be a great QB for Tennessee. Tennessee opens the year with a home game against Virginia before taking on the Austin Peay Governors before taking on the Florida Gators in SEC play. As we wrap up the video, let us know what you think in the comments below. What team do you think has the best season in the SEC? With all the talk about quarterbacks, which one do you think has the best season? Be sure to stay tuned into No Huddle for more college football content.